Forex Trading Unlocked, and we are here on March 20th, 2020 for a daily Forex market analysis and live trading breakdown for you. But we're going to pull up our disclaimer real quick just to remind you that this video is for illustrative and educational purposes only. Do not try and copy our trades unless you're part of our signal system and it's being managed for you. Don't try and do what's going on in this video. This video is streaming behind, so there's a little bit of a lag, plus you don't know how we change our positions once we're done with the video either. So please do just use these as examples, as guidelines on how to manage trades and how things are going. We've been looking at some different situations over the course of the week, and now let's see what's going on. So we have the Forex-Trading-Unlocked.com website already pulled up. We have the workstation page already set up, and we're going to skip past the numbers because they don't seem to really mean very much right now. We have the Euro-US dollar, which has had quite the range. It made a little bit lower of a move low today, but it's been holding kind of firm for the past few hours. So the dollar is finally taking a little bit of a breather, as you can see. One of the heaviest weight in the dollar index is the Euro-US dollar, and it is slightly positive. As we're speaking right now, the Dow Jones is up 350 points. The market's been open. The U.S. markets have been open for a little over an hour and a half. European markets are closing soon. Asian markets are closed. We have the currencies, obviously, that are running its course also. We are in the end of the week trying to see if we're going to get a signal. Well, right now in the Euro-US dollar, we're a bear. We do have positions on in this, so let's take a look at what we have left on. We have 4 binary options positions left on. We have a US dollar Japanese yen trade, which we will get to. We have a US dollar Swiss trade. We have and 2 Canada trades. So we don't have any binary options trades on, but we do have FX cash positions on. Now it is expiration rollover for the futures and options, so we've been warning people about staying out of the rollover trade because of spread activity. Excuse me, and wait until next week to start trading the front month June contracts. So we have a Euro-US dollar position here that we've been short for quite some time here from 111.45. We have a stop at 109.10. We have a very wide stop here. We have a lot of room. We're absorbing this trend. We're riding it lower. We had already made our money on our initial signals. So now we're just letting it sit. We'll probably lower the stop today depending on where the market settles. If the market settles very strong, we may even get out of this trade because of the weekend. There's a lot of things going on in the world. Totals are rising, but governments are doing the right thing, and China is now flattening out. So let's see. We don't know. Maybe some numbers start to flatten out elsewhere in the world. South Korea seems to be in a good place right now. We also have the U.S. dollar Swiss trade that we are long from 94.67. We have a stop in at 96.75. As you can see, we are going to probably raise this stop as well, depending on how it closes. Now, if this market collapses and there's a really big dollar sell-off today, then we may actually just get out of these positions and wait until Sunday night to see how things open up, because there may have been an overdone rally here. Not that we couldn't open with this current trend much higher on Sunday. The last 2 Sundays openings have been rather extreme, especially 2 weeks ago. But there's a lot going on. So there seems to be some light at the end of the tunnel with the coronavirus, and now it seems that markets are, even though we are expecting volatility to stay, we're expecting them to slow down a little bit. So now we also have a US dollar yen trade on. We are long from 108.26 and 110.23. We have 2 trades on. Both of them are now profitable. We have our stop in at 108.80. This one, if it turned around against us, we would make profit on one, excuse me, lose on the other one. But right now, we're doing okay. U.S. dollar doesn't seem to be losing strength against the yen. And then we also have a U.S. dollar Canada trade, which we are slightly up in also from $1.4251. This one was taking heat for a little while, but it's doing okay right now. We'll see how this goes into the afternoon. So those are the actual outright positions. We looked at the options positions. So now let's look at what we have going on. So for the euro US dollar, we know where we are with that. Let's look at the US dollar CHF, because this is the one where we have a Nadex option in. Now this one we had the US dollar Swiss is greater than 95.25. So as you can see, the market is trading at 98.22, almost $3 full higher. So we don't have to worry about this trade. This one is most likely going to expire in the money, so that when we've already seen the profit on, there's nothing left here. Now, what do we have going on here? We have a lower profit-taking day going on. We made a higher move high in the Swiss, but who knows how it's going to end the day. Like right now, it's still in the upper part of the upper 50% of its range for today. So we're keying off the 98.92 pivot and 97.44 as our directionals. A failure from the lower 97.44 has us bearish, targeting 93.91, and above 98.92, we're pressing new moves highs where we're aiming at 99.5. So that is the Swiss. So as we can see once again, our Swiss trade here is unless we had an incredible sell-off in the U.S. dollar Swiss, I don't see that trade being bad. So now let's take a look at the British pound U.S. dollar. You want to talk about a currency cross that's been swinging around and making a move. Look at what we have here. We have a potential buy signal forming. We have a big turnaround of events here. Dollar is definitely getting hurt against the pound. Now remember, the pound is one of the biggest components versus the dollar in the dollar index. So this market, because of its extreme move today, even though the euro is only slightly higher, it's not really influencing the dollar index today. It's the pound that is right now. So, and a couple other markets. So especially with an extreme move like this, I mean, the pound made a lower move low today at $1.1409, and the high is 119.93, or excuse me, 119.33, and we're trading right now at 118.69. So we're literally $4 off the low of the day today. I mean, talk about volatility. This is insane. But then also in the past 2 weeks, we went from 132 all the way down to what was it? The low again today was 114. So that's just an incredible slide. I mean, talk about the bears. And we had a sell signal up here, and we right here was the middle part where we had our even extended target range. So this one overtraded and overshot our target by a long time. If we were to settle right now where the market is trading, then this potential buy signal would become a bullish engulfing line. We don't want to get in front of a trade that hasn't signaled that it hasn't happened yet. This market could turn around and make new lows yet today. So please don't try and just become a bull here right now and think that, oh, we're going to get ahead of the signal. We're going to have a bullish engulfing line. And then all of a sudden the close comes and we don't have a bullish engulfing line. So be very, very careful. We're just talking about a potential buy signal forming here. And we'll see what happens after the close, because that's what it's going to take. So we're going to look at the U.S. dollar CHF real quick. This one here, once again, like I said, the U.S. dollar here is falling back against that. So we have the three major European currencies. This is the one we have the option and also Forex cash trade on. So, and we will be expiring with the option. And we'll see how this goes. But as we see just in Europe right now, we have a little bit of strength going against the dollar and the European currencies. Now, this may be profit-taking, so this is you have to be mindful of it. This has been a lot of pressure that the U.S. dollar has put on these currencies, and going into the weekend right now, it may be just traders getting out in front of the weekend saying, I don't want to even be in this market anymore, you know. So now we have the U.S. dollar yen, which continues to probe higher move highs. Now look at what we've done. We are just below the highs that we fell back from on February the 20th. So here we are 1 full month away. Let's see, on February the 20th, we closed at 112.08, and now we are trading at 111.03. So we are $1 below the high that we peaked at a month ago. We've come roaring back over the past week and a half. Even today, we've had a pretty strong range. So this shows you that U.S. dollar strength is good in this trading area. Now let's take a look at the Australian dollar, U.S. dollar. This is another market where we have a potential buy signal. So here we have strength once again in another currency. Now we may see markets are always forward thinking. Now this potential buy signal here that's forming, if it does, we're not looking for a big turn of events, but it may coincide with the fact that China is now plateauing. If China plateaus and they continue to get their factories back online, they're ahead of us and the rest of the world. then that means Australia will be starting to send stuff to China again because demand will start to increase, which is good for Australia. They've had enough between the wildfires, the coronavirus, and then China slow down and everything else. They could use a little lift. So for us to get a little bit of a rally going out or a corrective move higher, we may get that off of this buy signal. So we'll have to see how the market closes. Remember, we could be going and making new lows today still with this market. And also remember, New Zealand dollar, US dollar, and Australian dollar, US dollar, they can be very, very volatile, and overnight risk is very extreme. So let's wait and see what's happening. Now with this one here, we have a potential buy signal forming as well, but this one is starting to fall apart. If the Australian does what this does, we don't have these signals. They fall apart. So don't just start to get bullish because of what we're talking. Remember, we're looking for a signal to possibly occur as of the close of today going into the weekend. So we have to wait. So right now we do see dollar weakness against some other currencies. Especially the lesser currency crosses around the world. Flight to quality is the yen for Asia, and right now it doesn't seem to be flight to quality. So that's where we have a little bit of a mixed thing. But now as China comes online and Japan hasn't so much, that may be why the yen is in the shape that it is in. So, and also it could be just, the extension of this trend. That's where the dollar is a bull, and maybe there's a forward thinking with these other markets because of what's going on with China. So we'll have to wait and see what goes on with this. So let's look at the US dollar TRY. And why are we looking at the Turkish lira constantly? Well, they're not that far from Iran and Syria and a couple other countries that the coronavirus is definitely exploding. Now, back when we were down trading here back in February, we said that, and this is right when we came here, we had a sell signal here, and we're like, this thing may not last for more than a few days. And it didn't. I mean, it took about a week to completely turn around, a little over that. But it only was a 2-day break, and then it went sideways for a few days, and then boom, the bull came back. Today we pierced higher move highs. We have an outside day. We made a higher move high, we made a lower move low, and now we're floating right below the highs. So the US dollar TRY is strong. This market also is for experienced, well-capitalized traders. Do not try and get into this move right now. It's a very volatile market just on its own when things aren't busy and things are crazy right now. So this is just the bull to watch, but it also is an indicator of what's going on in that part of the world. As long as the US dollar TRY is going strong, that means that most likely things in the Middle East, as well as you go into the southern part of Eurasia, heading towards India and into China, things aren't so well in that area of the world. So they may still be where China was a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, and who knows how it's going to be handled there. So we know that things are stabilizing in China and definitely South Korea, but this area of the world, not so much. We don't know. So now let's look at the US dollar Mexican peso. Now talk about a time to go to Mexico, right? US dollar has been just a raging bull against the peso. Today is the first day in a while that it has not made a higher move high. Right now, as you can see, the US dollar is slightly lower against the peso, but with this move that we've had, I mean, if you look at it from yesterday's close, this hasn't had much of a range in lieu of the fact that all these other currencies are going nuts. And this one, too, has been very radically pressing through resistance. I mean, we had a high yesterday of, what was it, at 24.64 pesos to the dollar. And we're still just less than a peso below that right now. So US dollar bull is definitely in place here against the peso. Our downside pivot is 21.34 pesos. Only a failure here puts us back on a bearish track, even remotely. But right now, we're going to see either a sideways, especially if we start to see things continue to plateau in China, and now they put a big order in for corn with the U.S. as well as in with South America. They're looking to South American countries. This is good. So we may start to see a little bit of tapering off in these lesser currency crosses. Remember, like I said, like Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, and now the Mexican peso. These may be markets that are overdone with the dollar for a little bit. We're looking for maybe a potential correction. So the major trend is still a bull for the U.S. dollar, but we may be coming into now a little bit of a calming for volatility. So sideways alone would keep these extremes in place and give us opportunities to take the contrary trade for a little bit, and then we still may have another wave yet to come. So we don't know. We have to watch the numbers from the coronavirus. They are still growing. I think the world total is now at over 250,000 people. So we just have to each day it's hour by hour and day by day. Now we have the U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar, which is still lower on the day, but it is coming back. It's come back a lot, actually, since we started this video. It was much lower earlier. You can see that we have the pivots for the high of yesterday, which is another higher move high at $1.4676. For the breakout to the upside, and to the downside, we have $1.4139. Now we have a potential sell signal forming here in the Canada as well. Which is another reason to say maybe we're going to start to see a little bit of a turn in the dollar and give the other currencies a little bit of a reprieve, if you will. But who knows? We don't know yet. This is like the way this market's come back today with this extreme volatility. This may come back and take out new highs yet. So there's a lot, and we're coming into the weekend. So who knows what kind of unloading is going to happen with the big funds and what they're doing. So once again, we're starting to see dollar weakness across the board trickling in, especially stronger in a lot of your lesser currencies. Because remember, the euro US dollar, that was the one that it wasn't such a big deal. So let's go back and end on the euro US dollar, since that's what we're at. Now let's see, where are we at? The Dow Jones has just gone negative. So we started out this webinar and the market was up 400 points. The Dow Jones is now negative on the day, and the euro US dollar is back on the lower quarter of its range, hanging off not too far from its lows. So we'll have to see how this goes. Remember, I told you, don't get in front of these signals. We have potential signals that are shaping up, but in the time that we've talked, the Dow Jones has broken 400 points plus, and now is negative on the day, which means the dollar could start to surge. So these moves could be profit taking. They're illusions right now. So intraday traders may be capitalizing well on this, but position traders, if you think you're starting to catch, don't try and pick a bottom or a top. Wait for a valid signal, please, because today is a day where you could get totally trapped. Right now, the euro US dollar is trading at 107.25. It could settle at 109.25. It could settle at 105.25 today. So please do not try and get in front of these signals. And if you really want to know when to get in the market, you can read a book called High Probable Japanese Candlestick Patterns, available on Kindle and paperback at Amazon.com. Through it, you can utilize the best buy and sell patterns used for over 400 years to give yourself a competitive edge against the markets. And once again, we're going to show you a couple of them. We're just going to breeze through all the markets that we covered so far with the signals that are going on. So we have our euro US dollar short trade, which is still in action. We've lowered our stops, and right now, since it's falling back on its butt right now, and the Dow is going down, we have a good chance that our euro US dollar trade may actually continue on its nice little leg lower. US dollar Swiss trade, remember, we have we have a long Forex market trade, cash trade on, and we also have the binary option, which is $3 below where it's at right now. So that one should be okay, and as you can see right now, it's in the upper part of its range. It looks like the US dollar is starting to be, the Dow's down 57 points now as we're talking. Talk about live trading here, huh? So, I mean, we're in a little bit of a delay here, but from where we're at right now, since this video started, the Dow has now gone down almost now it's right around even. So yeah, over 450 points. So yeah, that means the dollar has a really good chance at surging over the course of the rest of the day. So be mindful of it. So that was that one market there. Let's see how the British pound US dollar is faring. Remember, this one was the big monster. Look at this. It was on its highs when we started. Now it's pulling back. Remember, it's this potential signals forming. They have not formed. We have to be sure. And let's look at the US dollar JPY and see where we're going. Yep, this one's holding firm on its highs. Let's go to the Australian dollar, US dollar, where we have the potential buy signal. See, this one is diminishing just since in the past few minutes since this webinar has been going on. This has been falling apart. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Let's see where you're at. Remember, there we go. It's already diminishing. That if the market settled where it's at right now, that buy signal does not exist. So this is a lesson to you. In the period of the time of this webinar, if you've been paying attention, you've seen how potential signals, you do not jump in front of them trying to outsmart the market. The market will always kick your ass on that one. So, and I'm just promising you that. That is for sure. So you know our trades that are on. We have still our US dollar Canada. The one is right kind of near where we're at. We're at the market's at 43.40 right now. We have 42.75, so that one probably will be good. And then we have one at 44.75. 1.05, that strike price, well, with this volatility, we actually may even get that high. But probably that will be our loser right there. So we're looking to we know there's 2 binary option trades that are going to be profitable for the week. A third one most likely will be, and the fourth one is questionable, but with this volatility, it may even happen. So we have that going for us, and then we have the US dollar yen longs that we have going on here. They're doing well. The US dollar Canada obviously is going well as well. And then we have the Euro US dollar, which is doing fine also. So we have these trades that we are continuing to monitor. Once again, if you want to learn how to find these signals when they do occur, when they happen, not try and get in front of them once again, read the book, High Probable Japanese Candlestick Patterns. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Forex Trading Unlocked, and also go to our website for all your Forex needs at www.forex-trading-unlocked.com. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend, everybody.